I think we have a quorum.
We have a quorum and we're recording. So, all right, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the Newington Board of Ed to order for Tuesday, February 10th. The time is 7:01 p.m. We have to do Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the pledge. If you have a flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and
to the republic
for which it stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation, under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, Deb, please call the roll.
Mary Beatrice,
Here.
John Halloran,
Here.
Marissa Lenzing,
Here.
Timothy Newton,
Here.
Amy Parati,
Here.
Pam Sharma, Ryan Scabo, Dr. Gail Stanley,
Here.
Jessica Weaver.
Here.
I have Mr. Sharma and Mr. Scabo absent.
Sam's on.
Yeah, I saw Sam on.
He's on there.
Sam. There he is.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Mr. Scabo is the only one.
Yes, he is. He is not able to make it tonight. So I'll just quickly, while we're not speaking, just go on mute, just to eliminate any background noise. And for board members, if you have a question or comment or anything, just raise your hand with that little raise hand button so that I can just know because I don't see all of you at my screen. So just raise your hand if you have a comment or a question. Okay. All right, at this time, I'll open up to public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. We got you, Sam. So if you're in the Google Meet, you can raise your hand to be recognized, and then I'll ask you to state your name and address for the record. I am not seeing anyone with their hands raised. Dana Havens, go ahead.
Hi, Dana Havens, 113 Stoddard. Sorry, I had a problem logging in for some reason. After last night's comments from some of you at the table, I feel compelled to address again the walkout and the concerns raised during that discussion. The fact that the assembly was held in the back of the school, where only students would be aware of it, strongly suggests that the event was intended to influence or direct the thoughts of our students and our students alone. That is not what a walkout is supposed to do. Additionally, the erection of a stage and the setup of tables in the gym for letter writing activities by school staff, combined with reports from several students that they were strongly encouraged by their teachers to attend the walkout, implies administrative support for the message delivered by the speaker or speakers. It is not the role of NPS staff to guide or direct students toward specific political positions. This concern is further amplified by the fact that the mother of one of the speakers was present yesterday and was promoting information that was incorrect or at best misleading, which leads me to believe that the same information may have been presented to our students. For these reasons, I'm requesting again that an assembly be held that includes speakers from both sides of the aisle. It would be especially valuable to include a representative from our local ICE office in Hartford. If they do have an outreach program, so I'm assuming we can outreach to them. I'm making this request because it's your responsibility to ensure that our children are educated with accurate factual information and receive both sides of the story, which actually is in your board policies that I was able to access thanks to the email from Superintendent Brummett this afternoon. It was also said at the table was that the students who organized this were 18 and have every right to do so. they may be 18, but it's ridiculous to say they have a right to do whatever they want on school grounds. Um, you know that they have to follow the rules and procedures, and skipping class, even if it's that advisory class, I don't think is exactly what you want happening. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands. So we can move to our presentation of awards. We have a resolution honoring school counselors. Are you sharing it, Dr. Brumman? There we go.
And I was on mute, so you didn't hear my wonderful introduction.
Okay.
It was great.
Let's do it again.
I wanted to welcome Seth Korn here this evening, and he is here to accept this award on behalf of our school counselors who do amazing work each and every day in our school system. Chairman Prouty, would you like me to read it, or would you like to?
If you want to, I won't stop you.
You got it. Whereas the Newington Public School System is committed to honoring its school counselors and recognizing their contributions to the educational system and their tremendous impact in helping students reach their full potential. And whereas the Newington school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development. And whereas the Newington school counselors are actively engaged in a partnership with parents for focusing on positive ways to enhance student academic, career, and social emotional development, and working with teachers and other educators to provide an educational system where students can realize their potential and set healthy, realistic, and optimistic aspirations for themselves. And whereas the Newington school counselors are an integral part to student success and to help increase student achievement and provide a much needed resource for students, parents, teachers, and administrators. And whereas it is the desire of the Board of Education that school counselors should be made aware of their appreciation. We do hereby proclaim that Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, as Newington School Counselor Appreciation Day. Therefore, be it resolved that we urge all citizens of our community to join with us in actively expressing gratitude to our school counselors who represent an investment in excellence in the community. Be it further resolved that the Secretary of the Newington Board of Education is directed to spread this resolution upon the minutes of this meeting and provide a suitable copy for presentation. And I can let Mr. Korn know that the suitable copy is in my office and it will be sent to him tomorrow.
Fantastic. Thank you. Remarks by board members or Mr. Korn?
Can I interrupt?
Oh, who?
I got a question. Gail Stanley is under Tony Mealy's name on the thing. So in the future, can we correct it?
What?
The signature's on the bottom. It says Tony Mealy member.
Oh.
Just an FYI.
Good catch. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Newton. That will be corrected tomorrow.
Thank you.
You've got it.
Miss Weaver, you want your hand up?
Yeah, sorry. I was doing my little sign language hands while we're on mute. But I think just want to say thank you. I know, Seth, you were here last night. And just want to thank you and your staff for the incredible dedication that you do every single day. You already know how many students you serve, and I always know that they are, we always hear lines out the door. So knowing the caseloads that your team has is not lost on us, and knowing the true impact that you have on our students day in, day out does not go unnoticed. We hear all the time about students who need to see their counselors because they love their counselors and want to be with their counselors. And I think, I say this probably every year I've been on the board, but I think I'm not sure how many folks outside of the education world and our community always know how much counselors do now and what that rigor is now and what it needs to be. I think many have a certain connotation of, oh, they help me pick my classes. That is one component, sure, but the amount of, as we said, social emotional education, the amount of support that you are there for our students, it's much more vast than I think, as someone would say, back in my day, but before back in my day. I think it is just wonderful to always hear the testimonials and always hearing of students who had an impact. Particularly, I always hear of, we always hear teachers, but certainly of counselors when I hear alumni speak about their experiences at Newington Public Schools. So thank you for all of it, all of that you do every day, and please extend our gratitude to your entire team.
Thank you. Mr. Holleran?
I think Ms. Weaver said pretty much everything I wanted to say too, so I will just share that sentiment. Thank you so much to all of our counselors. And I think if we could just take a minute to think back to when we were in high school, and sometimes it's easy to idealize that time. There was a lot less responsibility, a lot less adulting, if you will, but it was a very confusing time. And I think when you have to weigh the fact that you're not only learning knowledge in academia, but also trying to figure out who I am, where do I belong, where am I going? Having a really good counselor like we do in our Newington public school systems, they help you with that aspect that's not necessarily in curriculum, and that's growing. And I think that's learning how to navigate the transition from childhood to adulthood. And that's a long journey, and it can be very confusing. And I think having a lighthouse to show you the way is vital to anybody's adjustment to the quote unquote real world. So just thank you very much.
Mr. Sharma?
Hey, I just want to echo what everyone else said. So thank you to all our counselors. It's a lot of hard work day in and out. So thank you for going above and beyond and, helping our students. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just add quickly. I have had the pleasure of working closely with one of the school counselors at the high school, and it's a very fine line between being just like the place where kids go because they need a place to escape, and then that get back to class, here's how we can handle things and working things through together. So I think that there's I don't know how they do it with so many students, but they definitely take the time that the student needs and then getting them back to class or whatever is on their plate and what they need for that day or that moment. So they're always there. Their doors are always open, and they always find time to make sure our students have what they need. And then in addition, if I'm not mistaken, our SEL counselor is also in this realm, and so we have it's unmistakable the value that she has added to the high school, and I think we're very lucky to have that position and the program like that we do that was created by Dr. Brummett and Ms. Redmond. And I think it's just we're just extra lucky to have the people that we have in the high school doing the job that they're doing, and we love our school counselors. Mr. Korn. Let's put you on the spot.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt everyone. I just want to say on behalf of the school counseling department, thank you so much for this recognition. This week, the American School Counseling Association, the theme of the week was Amplify Student Success. And, I chair the Connecticut School Counseling Association group, and I talk to school counselors across the state of Connecticut and across the country. And one thing that Newington does do right is we definitely amplify our school counseling department, and we do a tremendous amount of work. And it's not without that support of the Board of Education and Dr. Brummett that we're able to every day meet the needs of our students as best as we can. And it's just greatly appreciated that this recognition and this opportunity to be a part of the community, because school counselors are truly the hub of a community, and they're the first, like I like to say, our tier one individuals. They're a lot of times the first contact, and then they are the ones to get support students and parents and families to that next step. So greatly appreciate the words and the recognition, and it's nice for a position that a lot of times works behind the scenes to get that recognition. So thank you so much for this honor.
Thank you. Okay, next up is continuation of our budget review.
All righty. So tonight, our first order of business is to review the administrative section of your notebooks. Last night, as everyone recalls, we went through each school and embedded departments within that. Tonight, during administration, I'm going to first start with Lynn, and then we may have some comments as well from Marilena, because it appears special ed is pretty much in every tab of our budget book. And then we will go on to see if there are any questions about facilities or maintenance, because we did not cover that in any depth last night. So I will kick it over to Lynn as our first step in administration.
Good evening, everyone. If you are thinking of the things in the central office administration, the first one that I'll be talking about is the Board of Education program, which is on the 6th page of your budget book. That encompasses the legal services, Teacher of the Year, the memberships for the Connecticut Science Center for all of our students district-wide, board services, our school resource officer is in that department, along with miscellaneous supplies and board memberships. We tried to keep that as low as possible and had a minimal increase on those lines. Any questions? Or do you want me to just keep going and ask the questions later?
What's
Actually, then I do have a question. I'm sorry, I forgot to raise my hand.
No, you did not raise your hand, Mr. Howard. Go ahead.
Under the Board of Education, line 330, the increase from 2,000 or 20,000 to 50,000.
The purchase professional services?
Yes.
Hang on just a second. And then the purchase professional services is $20.
It says it's legal services and labor relations.
Yes, sorry.
Is it because we have like contract negotiations coming up for teachers union?
We'll be contracting with teachers next year. So that is our biggest unit and the most expensive contract to negotiate.
Okay, thank you.
I was looking at the wrong number. That's why I couldn't find it. I'm sorry. My pages are messed up because I took them out of my book. It's all legal services for labor relations and Board of Education operations.
Yeah, my assumption was the teacher contracts, so thank you for confirming.
Okay. Sorry, I was not right on that. Any other questions? Okay, I'll move on to central direction. Central direction funds the day-to-day business and educational operations for the district. It encompasses the business office and all the services within the business office staff and the superintendent's office and staff. We also tried to bring that down as much as possible. So it has increases to our other purchase services, which is the 599 line in the central direction. And that is for policy services and things like that. We also have reductions in some of the lines, as you can see. We're trying to bring things in line. Are there any questions regarding those lines?
Go ahead, Ms. Beatrice.
Hi, just a quick question on line 119. Are we missing a staff person for that salary?
The Board of Education salary?
No, central direction, line 119.
I'm sorry. Central direction, line 119 had a bunch of people that used to be in there that are now in the department that they work in.
Okay, so it's just a reshuffling. It's not we're missing a staff member.
Correct. We're not missing staff members. We've moved them to curriculum and assessment and to HCD.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Weaver.
Thanks, Lynn. Just want to clarify on, so further clarification on the 113 salaries. So that's reshuffling from the 2024-25. We had not had that one, and then we moved. This is the recoding, correct?
Correct. That is the AFSCME staff
Yep.
are now all in 113. So that is the clerks and the secretaries for the Board of Education offices.
Great. And reduction in dues, just curious. I just couldn't see in the cut. I missed it.
The dues actually went up. You're talking 810?
Yeah.
The dues went up was we included and something for our central office staff to become part of CASBO.
Because I have it as going from 27,000 to 17. Under central direction.
I am sorry, I'm looking at the wrong line.
I'm Board of Ed.
I was looking at Board of Ed.
Board of Ed, yep.
I need 2410. Hang on, sorry.
You're fine.
Did not have taken my book apart because now I can't find anything.
Listen, I was there with you last night. I dropped it on the ground and
okay, the 810 for central direction.
I just didn't see it in the cut item, so I wasn't sure.
It had duplications in that line, so we cut them.
Okay.
That is, there were a couple lines that had the same thing twice, just different names, but it was the same thing.
Okay. Because then just curious, because we allocated pretty much the same and spent more in 24. 24-25 we spent 27, and then
I will look into that for you because
you.
I know we found a duplication and cut it, so I will look into that for you.
No worries, yeah. Thank you.
I don't know if I just happened to see it. There's CASBO fees, like dues and fees for IT. Is there any chance maybe it got split between central direction and
That is quite possible
information technology?
because he has his dues and fees too.
If it helps, there is a separate IT like subgroup of CASBO that had its own fees, but it's possible they got merged. I think my figure stayed the same though.
I think it was split.
Yeah, I think every year we do a thing of like the dues and membership stuff. So if we could just get that again. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just skipping ahead. In IT, it was $10,000 for the dues and like the other expenses line. And sorry, yeah, last year was $0. This year it's $10,000. So it looks like it just got
Reallocated, recoded.
yeah.
I'm
Thank you.
actually prepared to speak about that when we get there. That was a
Unrelated.
specific figure.
That's quite possible. I think we still, I think the request on the table though is to get an accounting of all dues and fees. Did I hear that?
I think that would be fantastic because it does seem to be split or in many different places.
yeah, and I know we've cut dues and
Yeah.
memberships in previous
Yeah,
practice.
yeah, we've removed ourselves from a few
Yeah.
over the last several years.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe to show the evolution of that too. If you have like a 3-year look back, that would be
3
not
years.
more work, but it's helpful.
Well, we have it from prior.
We have the other prior, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Stanley.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I noticed the dues and fees are also under HCD, but sounds like we'll get that. So I had a question about under the central direction, line 550 for printing services. Are we really increasing our printing services by $7,000? Or that's what we allocated, but we had $11,000?
We did not change it. We kept it flat. We currently have $11,000 budgeted there. We budgeted $11,000 going forward. It was flat funded.
In
But we
24,
only used,
25.
prior year, we only used a little over 4,000. Is that right?
That is what it says, yes.
Okay.
We can look into that, Dr. Stanley, because we are printing less due to, digital opportunities. So if that experience this year was another 4,000 or so, we can look at that as a potential cut.
Okay.
So we will look into that, and that will be followed up next week.
Mhm. And then just to confirm, so this change in line 113 with the 6 secretaries, that's just a reshuffling maybe from 119. We didn't hire 6 new people.
No, those are the 3 people in my office, 4 people in my office, and 2 people. No, 3 in my office and 2 in SPED and 1 in the other office. Jess.
Okay.
Jason's person. Sorry, my brain.
Ed Tech.
Yeah.
The special education already has 2 secretaries under their program.
Okay, these are the same people that have always been in our offices. I'm just not shuffling them right for you. Sorry, I'm new here.
That's okay. You explained yesterday, right? There was the reclassification where the AFSCME secretaries are now separate from the
all AFSCME were moved into 113 so that you could see the total effects of the town's union.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, and they were previously in 119
with all the other non-certified.
So anywhere we see 113 with 0 in 24, 25, it's due to that split.
Correct.
Right, yes. And we will be getting a list of all non-certified staff changes or numbers.
Yeah, the reason we didn't change the actual is because we were audited and we have the complete audit done. So it would be disingenuous to change those numbers in this document. We can give you the numbers separately, but we just didn't want to change it in the document because we've been audited and it ties to our EFS figures.
Yeah, totally understand that. I just want to make sure that that's a blanket statement for the whole book is the salary line for 113 was split out from 119.
Yep, 100%.
Just to clarify, I know I have in my notes from the other night that we needed to provide a full accounting of paras and RBTs because there was concern or wonderings about the increased cost there.
Mhm.
Did you also want an accounting of all of the secretaries, folks throughout the district?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe we said paras and RBTs because that was the question that came up, but I think all non-certified.
All 9, sir. Okay. Yeah. So we don't have that tonight. We're still doing our due diligence on that. So we'll plan to provide that for next week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Stanley, that works for you too, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Next week is great. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, I'll move on to building direction. For the central office, that is our security services. So it basically has the contracts for our security, our supplies for our security for the badges and IDs. And we cut the property and we were going to use CIP funds for that. the BOE CIP. That is the reason you'll see it going from 76,000 last year, 60,000 this year to 40,000. We were going to utilize more of the capital improvement money for that. Any questions? Okay, for general supplies, we tried to keep that in line. Sorry about the cat. So we have a minimal increase year over year of $2,000 for our central supplies. The rest is salaries. Any questions? Oh, God.
Ms. Weaver?
Just clarifying too, like, just to kind of echo, we're appropriating, I would just ask too, like, how close we are for the general supplies. If it's, you know, anywhere we can find $2,000. But if we did 8,000, maybe it's closer to 10,000 this year, just trying to figure out kind of, or is that already kind of like the cost of toilet paper?
Can you hear me again? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Now. Computer off.
Lynn really likes to be at the board table as well.
Thoroughly embarrassed. I am so sorry.
You're great, fine.
Oh my gosh.
So there was a question about, I'm sorry, could that be repeated, please?
Yes, sorry. Just saying, like when we're budgeting for these ones, so the year over year, it went from 8,372 to 11,900. Are we close to that now, or are we looking more at like 10,000?
You for the supplies?
Yeah, just curious, like how close we get to, just if year over year, you know, that could be $2,000 cut, or you know, just here or there kinds of things.
We didn't increase it at all. If you look this year, we have 11,900. Next year we're budgeting 11,900. The only
no, I just wasn't sure how close we were this year to the 11,900. You know,
I could not tell you that off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
No,
I'd have to get you.
I know. I
get
asked,
that back to you.
and I'll just preface, most of my questions will be
general supply.
Later time.
Okay.
Okay.
And is there any more questions, or can I move on to transportation?
Move on.
Okay. For transportation, the biggest uptick that we have is our outsourced special transportation, which has gone up exponentially. It's probably a 30% increase. The rest of it, we have tried to stay within very tight ranges, having minimal increases, except for some of the supplies have gone up quite a bit. But overall, we kept it in line with a 288,000, 300,000 increase to the transportation lines.
And Lynn, I think I asked you this with the overall presentation. Is the outsourced special ed cost of transportation?
It's part of the transportation budget. It is a special ed cost, but it's part of the transportation budget.
It's due to special education students being transported out of district.
Correct. And every time a new student comes in and has to be outplaced, the transportation expenses go up.
Yes. When Marilena said yesterday that ESS saved I don't have my notes. Something $1.8 million. Did the transportation cost get included in that item, or is it strictly special ed costs?
Strictly special ed costs.
Okay.
Just tuition.
Interesting. So we should maybe rephrase or reframe that, because if we're also saving on transportation, potentially of outplaced students, that is a higher number, a much higher number.
Thank you.
We can look into why that went up, whether that's the
No, I'm not concerned about it going up. I understand that it went up. It was more of having ESS, like if that comes up as a item to cut or, you know, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
The number that Marilena gave yesterday was $1.8 million saved. That was strictly from the special education program. So it's plus, we're saving that plus the transportation to outsource those students that we're keeping in district. So I think it's just it's a we're saving more money than
just the tuition.
Yeah. Dr. Stanley, go ahead.
Thank you. And so just for the outplaced students, are these potentially open choice students as well?
Do you want to get that, Marilena?
As far as I know, that is not, like, that's a separate cost. I don't believe that is in the transportation. I would have to defer back to you, Lynn. I know that when we do our tuition costs, transportation, what we do on our spreadsheet is strictly the related services and the special ed costs. I do not believe that we are charged for transportation, but I am not sure.
But it could be potentially that a student arrives in Newington as part of the open choice, and then we decide that we can't adequately care for them or teach them, and we have to outsource them. Is that a potential?
My understanding that still is coordinated through open choice. We work with open choice transportation. They would transport them to their outplacement facility.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for clarifying that for me.
Sure.
And just a reminder to any open choice special education costs are reimbursed to Newington. So they're in our operating budget, but that's the we get money back from Hartford and then that goes into our board CIP. So we're spending the money up front. It's in our operating budget, but then we're getting reimbursed for any open choice services that are provided for special education students. In addition to
that 100% reimbursed, or that's that 4% thing?
For special education, it's 100%. The 4% is the 4% of our population. We're getting $10,000 per student into our operating budget.
If it's 4%.
3 or
Right
4.
now, we're getting 8.
Yeah.
Between 8 and 10, depending on that percentage.
Yeah, but the special ed costs are 100% reimbursed for those students from their home district, Hartford.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah. Ms. Weaver?
Hey, questions about again, just trying to like contextualize the year over year. So again, not expecting now, but just curious because we went up on line 626. It goes from 224 to 328. We go from 24 to 45, 15 to 21. And I know Dean explained a lot of the increases last time, but just curious how close. And again, I know we won't know probably until year end and those kinds of things, but just how close we are.
626 is the diesel and gasoline.
Okay.
So those are based on the outlook for next year.
Yep.
And the 627 are parts and supplies for the vehicles, and the tariffs have caused those to increase quite a lot. It's about 30%. So we tried to keep that down and not increase it that much. So we are just trying to keep it in line and not increase things as much as they could be increased, hoping for the best.
Got it. Yeah, I was just curious. I was wondering about, sorry, I don't know what happened to my camera. It says it's on and I can't see myself. Anyway, yeah, just was curious how close we are to actual fuel costs and if those, because I know they've been lower. So I just
we're very lucky being able to piggyback on the town's contracts. So that is very helpful.
Okay. Yeah, if Dean has like any of those, if you have those actuals just for 25, 26, as close as we can, if we're like on track to hit the 328, that would be just good to know.
Yeah, we'll get that for you also.
Thank you.
All right.
I think we'll continue on, Lynn.
All right. Our insurance, it has gone up quite a bit due to the cybersecurity insurance going up and some of the liability insurances. Any questions regarding those?
Well, it's flat over last year and this year, right?
It's gone up quite a bit from the actual.
From the actuals, yeah, okay.
Because I did not want to increase it more than what we had for this year because I saw that we had $775 spent that year, but the cybersecurity doesn't look like it was paid for that year, so I'm not exactly sure. But I can look into that with the town because we piggyback with them on the insurance, and I will check to see if that is something that could be cut.
Dr. Stanley?
Never mind. I think I answered my own question. Sorry.
That's okay. So Lynn, you were saying that the cyber, that's that account 525?
Yeah, that's, and I'm not sure why we paid nothing in 24-25. So I just I kept it flat, anticipating that we would have to pay it this year. We have not yet. So I'm going to check with the town and find out if that's a possible cut.
Okay. And the insurance rates are they, I know we have like that standing insurance committee. Is that what this is for?
The insurance committee is basically for the employee benefits side of it, for all the insurance, for the health insurance, and all those insurances. If you'd like, I could move on to that.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you want me to move on to the employee benefits side?
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. I took a really long, hard look at the employee benefits lines, and I found that they were modeled and built using a maximum exposure framework, which I don't particularly care for. So following an internal audit of our needs and trends, I transitioned the benefits to a more precision-based model. This update aligns our budgetary needs more closely with our demographics and allows us to maintain the budget with a nominal increase of 2.22% over the current budget, which we were able to withstand an 18% increase in our benefits by switching to a different model from maximum exposure to precision-based modeling. So I'm hoping that everyone understands that the insurance is going up 18%, but we're only increasing the budget by 2.22 for the employee benefits based on that audit.
So I think that what I'm hearing, and I worked in insurance, but not employee benefit insurance, but I think what you're saying is that the predictions, the predictions of the claims were that there would be more, right? The more claims because it was.
The budget was built on a worst case scenario model. I don't agree with that. I thought that we should take the amount of money we need and put that in the budget, not saying it's a worst case scenario.
So as far as you know, previous budget years have been also built on have been built on worst case scenario, and this year it's changing to like more in line with not worst case scenario. Like
correct. I'm going with a precision based model, which takes what the insurance company has given us, and I'm using that figure to go forward.
Okay.
Less the employee copays.
So in the past, it's been what the insurance company gave us plus some extra.
I believe so.
Okay. Well, the number that's in the book right now reflects that model that you are using.
Correct.
And what happens if worst case scenario happens?
It technically can't because we only pay the 18% period. I checked with our insurance carrier and they give us a dollar figure and that is what we pay. We only pay the first 100, it's either 150 or $175,000 of every claim. So we don't need to model it on the worst case scenario. They build the rates based on our experience for a rolling 12-month period. So it is what it is. They can't charge us more once they give us that rate.
And if the worst were to happen, if something catastrophic and claims are higher than the town absorbs that.
Correct.
Overage.
We budget what we budget, and if something terrible would happen and we had to pay more, the town absorbs it.
Okay. I know that we don't typically get anything back these days, but that health benefit credit, is there any indication where we are for this year?
Currently this year, we're running a little higher than 100%. It was 102% last time I looked. But that's based on the rolling 12-month period. There was a 120% period that's part of that will be dropping off. So hopefully it'll go back down under the 100% mark.
Okay, thank you.
In the next few months.
Okay.
And the last thing that I have to speak about is the community services. So that pays for the custodial staff and the AV techs for our outreach for the Parks and Rec and all the people who use our facilities, some other purchase services and supplies for those. And we also have electrical and things that go back for that, for the community services. Tried to keep it from going up too much, but the salaries have gone up a little. So it's an increase of approximately 12,000.
Dr. Stanley?
So I don't think we have an accounting for what 119 is. I'm guessing it's a non-union staff member at 20.
The 119 is the students that do the audiovisual for the football games and the events that happen at the schools, the plays, all those things. We pay the students that do the audiovisual for that.
All right, thank you.
And the 113, in case you were wondering, is custodial staff. And I think that concludes all of the Lynn things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Charlotte's gonna say goodnight.
Good night, Charlotte.
Good night, Charlotte.
Next up, I believe would be educational technology and career tech ed, which would be Mr. Palermo.
Hi, folks. It's great to see everyone remotely. I'm going to present the educational technology budget. Through potential realized savings, we are only going to up educational technology $1,000. And through career technical education, I think Kristen presented it last night, we had 33.5 in consumables. So in the past, Craig and I were under the same umbrella through ed tech and IT. So he'll present the rest of the budget for IT.
Sorry, Jay, just a question. For the things that you're buying due to realized savings, are those like one-off things or like next year would we expect?
Yeah, it's all subscriptions that we obtained for educational technology tools and platforms.
Okay. So it's things we do buy every single year.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Brummett, did you want me to jump in next, or are you following a different pattern this evening?
No, Craig, you can go up.
Okay, great. Good evening, everybody. I really was looking forward to seeing you guys in person. It's one of the few times a year I get to say hello and also meet some of the new board members. So good evening and welcome. As Jay mentioned, I'm the other half of the coin with technology. Jay is our ed tech director, and as the director of IT, I get to start a new chapter with you as we have our own new line in the budget. So for everyone involved, for the new board members especially, the information technology, as I said, is the other half of the coin. We are the hardware, the networking, the operating systems. We build the secure, reliable network infrastructure. We handle all the connectivity for students and staff. Cybersecurity management, those types of things fall under our program. With the new budget and the new chapter, as you look at our program, which is code 2580 now, because of the audits that Lynn mentioned earlier, we weren't able to bring the dollar figures over for you, but they are embedded within the figures that you find in 1008 with Jay. So that was where our budget was last year. This year, with the purchase services, other purchase services and supplies, the 400, 500, and 600 accounts combined, I'm looking at a 1% increase for those across all of those services. That is very minimal, given the fact that we have to anticipate increases in contracted service costs due to tariffs, due to technology hardware increases, but I'm very optimistic we can make that work. The only other increase you'll see in the budget there, you guys did pick up on that already, I think. Amy noticed that, I believe it was, with the other expenses, the $10,000. Right, we've had about 4 or 5 years of free services with a program called MSISAC. It's abbreviated MSISAC. It's an information sharing group. Think of it like Neighborhood Watch for local government, schools, and tribal entities. They went to a paid program under the new leadership at the federal level. The state of Connecticut did pick that tab up this year, but if we are able to continue it, that's where that $10,000 would be. That would be our annual cost to participate in that program. I would summarize them essentially as being a partnership that gives us early warning, but also gives us support services if we're ever involved in a tragic, catastrophic type of cyber event. So a little bit of insurance piece to what they do as well, but that's really where that falls. So overall, my increase is 2.6%, I think, and you'll see the figure in the budget there at 562,490. Otherwise, the fees and everything coming over was as minimal as I could keep it. Does anyone have any questions on our program or the budget entries?
Just curious I'm sure it's in here on one of these pages, but I'm having difficulty googling.
It is a new book, right? It's a new chapter in a new book. It's finding our way.
All brand new. But there were some property items cut. Is that did it get moved, or Dr. Brummett just said no?
So she didn't just say no. We had a very good strategic conversation. Dr. Brummett, Lynn, Jay, and I looked at those things. As you know, we carry our hardware costs as much as we're able to within the CIP fund.
Mm-hmm.
These were items that exceeded that balance. So I put them in my request so that we could have a tactical conversation at the table. And with Dr. Brummett's guidance, Jay's review of the program, the curriculum, the mapping, where things are going, the progress of some of the coursework, we do believe we're going to be stable and fine without having to make some of those planned purchases, right? These are like life cycle types of things. So 7 years comes up on a piece of equipment. This would be the time to replace it proactively, or whatever the right life cycle is. We have a mapped out plan for that. And so that's why these came up. These were hitting their age, or they were bumped from a previous year, came back again.
Okay,
But we'll
so
be okay. We don't anticipate any significant impact negatively to any of the programs we offer.
okay, yeah, I'm just seeing. So there's iPads, it looks like, but then also like cameras. Are there cameras existing that just are time to replace, but they're still working?
Cameras are in, there's a $3,000 line item in supplies, which we put them there so that we could make sure we keep the repair shelves full.
Okay.
That's all. Those are document
Okay.
cameras. They're little goose arm kind
I
of
was
tools classroom teachers use, like we used to use overheads.
I was looking at line 730.
Yeah.
Sorry, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. No, I see. Never mind. Wrong one.
690 are the cameras this year.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect.
And we did in our analysis of our needs, we do have iPads in for lack of a better word, in stock. So we do not need to add additional.
Okay.
100%. Very, very accurate. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Okay. Miss Weaver.
Hey, Greg, thanks for kind of giving that background on that other expense there. Just a question about so it was funded by the federal government and then the federal cut it and then the state absorbed it and then the state absorbed it. Now they're not going to absorb it again. Is that fair?
Unfortunately, yes. So this group, MSISAC, is a support group for state, local government agencies and tribal entities. They were a branch of CISA, the federal government for Cyber Information Security Agency, CISA. With the new leadership in Washington, they changed the funding structures, as you know, through a lot of different programs, and this was one of those that was hit through CISA. So they turned the MSISAC program into a pay your own way program. The state of Connecticut has been leveraging it as well and worked out a deal and had money in their coffers this year to buy it for every community in the state. So all of us were able to get a buy on this one for those that participated. We've been in it for about 8 years. It is a value to us. It is nice to have that extra coverage and protection. But if we do have to pick it up and the cost is there, we do still have cyber liability insurance as well. So we have a really good toolkit, I think, and this is just a nice augmented piece we've had as a luxury for a lot of years. And the fact that we have to pay is unfortunate, but
interesting.
If you guys have the capacity, it'd be wonderful to be able to keep it.
Yeah. Very interesting. Thank you.
Happy to share more at some point if you'd like.
Appreciate it.
Miss Beatrice?
Just a quick question. I don't know if I'm looking in the wrong spot. The student Chromebooks, where would that information be and how are we in our rotation? Are we going to need to order new for this coming year or are we all set with our rotating stock?
That's a great observation and it ties pieces together. I think Maureen talked about your CIP not long ago, a few months back. So the technology a few years ago, the board moved to incorporate the hardware lifecycle purchases into our capital improvement budget. So the technology is a piece of the capital improvement fund. Within that, we buy the student devices and the replacement staff devices each year, and we continue to try to fund and plan for strategically infrastructure improvements and upgrades. So they are all set. Our renewal program is consistent. We do 3 grades a year. For our new board members, we do grades K, 5, and 9 each year. The students keep them for their life at that tier. So K goes 5 years, 5 goes 4, 9 goes 4.
And then just a quick follow-up on that. Where are we with the opt-in insurance program from the families? Are we still seeing success with that or kind of 50-50?
We do. We're using that to buy the grade K devices for the coming year after 2 years of funding into that program that will help us offset the capital budget as well. Gives us a little bit of runway for some of the other important needs. You're very welcome.
Dr. Stanley?
Hi, thank you. I was wondering on the same lines of the Chromebooks, where the maintenance and repairs are, and if we're seeing and anticipating any reductions now that Chromebooks are not coming home in the elementary schools?
We're still seeing we are seeing fewer tickets on average across the district this year due to some of the additional efforts the schools have put in place, I think. We do still see 1 out of every 2 tickets is damage. So I'm watching that trend very closely, trying to see where that's going to take us. It's hopeful that we'll be able to save a little bit of money, but quite honestly, we changed vendors 2.5 years, might be 3 years now. think it's 3. That'll be exciting. This will be our 3rd year with this new vendor. And I don't know how this happened. I almost feel like Alice in Wonderland having found this partner, quite honestly, and not in a bad way, but in a good way. Not like the Queen of Hearts and some of that scary stuff. I mean, like really good things. This partner has a program where they self-insure. And we actually saved quite a bit of money moving our device purchases to this vendor. And anything that happens for us when it comes to repair or damage, we simply put it in a box and send it back to them, and they send us another one. They've been fantastic. They're challenging at times to work with, but the program is so financially beneficial to the district, it was impossible to look away.
Okay.
So I don't see us encountering a catastrophic cliff ahead with any damage or things like that.
Mhm. So is the maintenance and repairs put in the operation budget, or that's all on the CIP?
So in our program line, you do see a 430 account under IT. So 430, I have $35,000 there annually. That is for repairs, parts, replacement stock, things like that. So when things are outside of warranty, when we have something fail inside of a server or network adapters or something like that fails, we have equipment that we have to purchase. We have to bring a vendor in to fix something. That's what that account goes for.
Okay, so that's
It's a nominal expense.
a new 30.
No, it's not new. It was in the 1008 last year.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we've been at 35, I believe, for 4 years. We were at 25 before that.
Okay, thank you.
And kind of just piggybacking on, I flipped back to the 1008. So the actual from 24-25 looks like it was $8,000.
Which line? I actually have the real numbers that, because of the audit, it's not on paper for you, but I did the math.
Okay, thank you.
So if it's helpful in pencil for you guys, the line 400 or 430 you see at the end there was 35 last year. The 590.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I want to be clear. So if you have a question.
No, keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So the first line, the 400 across, which in parentheses is 430, 35K. The 599, the next line down was 511,605. So you can see we only went up a little over $3,000 there. The supplies was CIP last year. We're dipping a little bit in for the cameras. That's all this year. So we can make CIP go further. And last year, the 800 line was 350.
Thank you.
That was my part of that whole umbrella figure. Yep.
So I was asking, if you look at the 1008 program, the actual amount.
Oh, 1008. Okay, that's why I was looking at mine.
Yeah. The actual amount for 24-25, so a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Last year, I guess, was 8,344. But I feel like we budgeted 35. So is that like, I guess my question is 35 what you actually will need to spend in your best like predictability? Is that what you think you'll need to spend for repairs, replacements, or do you think that there's a little bit of room to knock that down? Like if you look,
I do see the figure you're referring to. I think we'll have to look into that number a little more closely, to be honest with you, because we had been at 25 for a long time, and it was 35 going back.
Okay.
So,
I don't want to.
I don't spend it frivolously. It's there for things that when we have a catastrophic issue, like a server fail, for example, that's out of warranty, we have to get that replaced. That could be $20,000.
Okay.
We
so it's more
typically
than
will
just
buy.
Chromebooks. It's all.
That has nothing to do with Chromebooks.
Okay.
Nothing to do with Chromebooks.
Yeah. So just
No, Chromebook parts and all repair costs go to the vendor directly or come from Chromebook insurance.
Okay. Yeah. Let us know your thoughts and opinions on line 430.
I will. Yes, I'll do another analysis of that for you.
Thank you. Mr. Holleran?
Yeah, Craig, along the same lines with 430, if you're able to look back and over a couple of years, because I feel like that line can fluctuate a lot. There's going to be years where your cost of repair are fairly low, but if you've got a repair a server, like you said, that's 20 grand right there, or if it's just something that is complicated versus something that's routine. If it's cameras, right, like those are cheaper. But yeah, if you can actually dig up kind of what that is, because I have a feeling looking back just 1 year isn't telling the full story.
I don't think it is either. I do have my spreadsheet in front of me, but I want to do my due diligence and bring you something that's clear and readable, because I have not budgeted at that figure in countless years. So I'll work with Lynn and her team to get the data from the couple years back.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Do you want 5 years?
If you could get 5 years, that would be ideal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you all so much for the questions.
Thank
I'm always
you.
here.
Thanks, Craig.
Okay.
All right. If we're clear to move on, it is now Jason Plum's turn to discuss maintenance and operations.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So we'll start with maintenance. It's on top here. We have salaries that have changed from the actuals in the past. So we have the 0 and the 423 have been divided appropriately. So we have full-time staff and we have summer helpers. It's just the increases as contracts dictate. Same story on a lot of these that I'm going to be talking about. Purchase services. So for the 30 account, this incorporates both the bus garage, central office, and district-wide activities. Some of those district-wide activities are the unfunded mandates that we speak about, HVAC, indoor air quality, and so forth. In line 430, so these are just general repairs of the bus garage or the central office. It's an actual of 22, it's up to 36, so it's just kind of a construction index increase, small increase. And stop me if you have any questions. I'm just reading down the list here. 599 is contract services. So these would be term contracts that we have with certain contractors that would be either for fixing the 2 locations or for a district-wide initiative. Big hitter in that one would have been the a hygienist that we had in to take a look at all the schools and give us reports on air quality in like every 3rd classroom and occupied space.
Looks like Mr. Hollern has a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you just hit on it too, but the actual is a lot higher than the previously budgeted. Is that the hygienist mostly?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of a one-off thing that we did in preparation for this 5-year indoor air quality mandate that's coming.
Yeah, and I know they're not cheap, and there's like 4 of them in the state.
Yeah, that particular one was not cheap at all. And what they did is they went into each classroom and they set up a little monitor, 15 minutes per classroom, and checked for CO2, particulate in the air, temperature, humidity, of a whole list of items just to see what the air quality looked like.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure. Next one down is supplies. Again, these are district-wide supplies or supplies that we have for maintenance activities. Same thing here. The little gizmos that I brought in to show you, the sensors for the indoor air quality, they're a district-wide thing. We don't know which school they're going to, so we buy them in batch and we issue them out to the school. So a big chunk of this is the sensors. We do have a sensor purchase in this year, so the 25-26. It's actually going to push that past its limits a little bit. But the good news is we are done buying sensors, so that'll be the last of it. So everything levels out for your future. And then property. There were some items for maintenance. For I believe this might have been a vacuum for central office. The actual, and we have no property budgeted for this next budget cycle. Any questions on that one?
Yeah, Mr. Halloran?
Thank you. So the sensors themselves under line 613 in the hygienist, that was all part of the unfunded mandate to get us into compliance?
Well, the sensors get us the information. We have a request into the state to confirm or deny that will make us come into compliance.
Right. I remember that.
Much like the Boston schools use their real-time information, this would be kind of along those lines. But it seems to provide, I believe, proof if we had those three categories that I've had you in and talked with you folks about. Yeah, right. The CO2, the humidity, everything's all right. Then that proves that we're cycling air in through and our ventilation's proper and we're keeping the temperature right. So I believe, Lou and I believed that it does accomplish that. We just haven't been able to get a response on that. The 5-year mandate it requires, in order to be in compliance, it requires 20% of your schools. So you have 5 years to do it. You break it apart in 5 pieces, relatively equal. And you actually have to have a air balancer. So this is a construction-like person that comes in and measures all the airflows out of all of your ductwork and air-moving equipment. You'll have the hygienist along for the ride, so they'll be checking the quality of the air, much like they did for this initial run. So we kind of got a head start on that part, but in a couple of other things. So it's easy to solve if we can use the sensors, but we're already kind of ahead of the curve on the with the air samples that we've done so far.
Great, thank you.
Certainly. Okay, if no other questions, I'll move to plan operations. Again, you see the 0 and the 265 on the left there. Those have been resorted so that they fall in the proper categories. They've gone up per union contract of what we need. 411 is our water. We held that flat, and we might even hold it flat next year. MDC is holding flat, so that's a good thing for us. Next item, 531, is telephone. We're holding that flat also, in case that we need infrastructure or something that comes up. Next is rubbish. It's gone up a fair amount. I think that's due to cost of fuel. I don't know what else it's due to, but we get our figures from the town of Newington. So highway department handles all of our trash, and they give us whatever, the increase is known to them from the trash company. So it just goes up per that. We factor in some, beyond that, some dumpsters. So there's each of these schools will have figures in there to account for what we use daily in our trash cans, and then what we have for a little bit extra for those dumpsters when we purge in the summer and so forth. 597 is uniforms. It's depending on if we have staff rollover. If they damage the uniforms, that fluctuates a little bit. It actually went just up just a little bit from the previous request, and it's a little bit lower than actual, but that's a good number. Supplies, so these are plant operations supplies. These would be janitorial supplies, papers, chemicals, and things to keep the facility clean, rugs, things like that we purchase. So we're just a small increase. Natural gas is line 621. So we have some money in there for natural gas. Just from my research, natural gas is looking at about a 15% increase this year. It's going to impact us at the schools and at home. With the winter that we had just now, or that we're in, natural gas has a price normally, and then when supplies go down, natural gas prices go higher. So it's a slippery slope with natural gas. When we have an exceptionally bad winter, not only do we use more units of natural gas, but per unit it costs more. So We try to do our best. We have done well in the past to land on the natural gas numbers that work, and electric. We can look at our electric bills and kind of figure that we're going to be about, looking back, 3 cents of an increase per kilowatt hour for the first 6 months, and then they changed their numbers in January, so that would split our fiscal year. So for the last 6 months, we tend to see about a 3 cent increase. It's difficult to get the power company to give you those figures. They're much better at looking backwards and forward, but that's what we're seeing historically. So I imagine we'll be in that ballpark.
Dr. Stanley has a question.
Sure.
Hi there, thank you. So I just question on like the telephones and the natural gas, just looking from the year prior. So our actual spent on, for instance, natural gas was 0, but now we're going to spend, but we appropriated 13.5. Or are we using natural gas, or are we just using fuel and electric?
That is unusual. I would have to look into why it is 0 for you. I can do that.
Okay.
I mean, I know our building runs off natural gas, central office. I'm not sure why it's a 0 in the actual for 24-25.
And then same for like our telephones. Our actual was only 17K, but we appropriated like 50,000 or 49. So that's a 32,000 difference between what we actually used and what we are requesting.
Right, and you'll see that through each school as we go through, that there is a difference there. I think that's due to our migration toward more voice over IP, rely on internet and not a copper line for phones. But if the phones go down, we do need to repair them. So some fluff, some surplus has to be left in there in order to repair it if we do have infrastructure problems.
Okay. And 32.
But that may be an opportunity.
Yeah.
Just a comment, and I don't know how easy this would be, but like things like plant operations and maintenance, they're in every
school.
They're in every school. So would it be possible to like just get overall figures? Like it doesn't even have to be broken down by school, but just the accounts for all the schools combined, or all the schools plus central office combined. Lynn, probably a question for you.
Each account totals?
Yeah, just across the district, just because like flipping, like I know that's a learning curve, right? Because like we had a whole section before of plant operations and it had every school so we could compare, but now it's like on multiple pages. So just to see it, I think it would help me, I guess, a little bit just to see like our overall cost of the ones that are, yeah, that's what I'm trying to ask.
I can get that for you.
Okay, thank you. And then my other question, and I think Jason, you've already kind of answered it, but in the past, the town council has asked like, why did we assume X percent increase for electrical when they assumed a different percent gas, etc. And I know the answer has always been like, we have a different contractor, we've got solar panels or that kind of thing. So I just want to put it out there, and you can take it back and look at it. But if we do get the town's assumptions, can we just make sure that they're in line with the board's assumptions for those?
Yeah, it's really not comparable. In each of our schools, we have a different electric rate. It depends on if we use the electric at a certain time of day, we pay a premium. It depends on the service size. I will tell you that, I mean, we had great figures last year. We spent 103% of our electric budget. So our original budget was, so we were at 1,087,604, and we ended up at 1,152,221. So it's pretty honed in, pretty close.
Okay.
We do have solar coming on board for the last 2.5 years. So that's kind of, I think that demonstrates we did a pretty good job of estimating what the solar did. That's pretty close to the bullseye. But yeah, I don't think they could, if they're getting rates on a little tiny, almost a residential size service, and we have our schools, they're completely different animals, especially now with the solar in play.
We also have to pay the generation rates for the solar every month.
Okay.
So we pay for the electric and we pay for the solar generation. And we
Right.
get credits back for the solar.
Yeah. Okay.
Any? Just wondering if there are any other questions for Mr. Plum. I believe we have some follow-up.
Yeah, we had one more fuel oil on the end here. That's for, we have a fuel oil burning furnace down at the bus garage. So that'll be the end of my list, I think, on this one.
Ms. Weaver.
Thanks. Sorry, guys. I've been struggling through 3 different laptops to try and get my camera back. We're back, though. I was like, where's Craig? Just to follow up on Dr. Stanley's question, too. Yeah, if you could give more clarity on and just dig into the telephone services, the 531 line, that would just be helpful. Like, where's that? Just particularly on the central direction one. And then, yeah, I was just going to kind of echo what was saying, kind of all the assumptions. So I guess that was probably already answered for me. But I guess the other question would be if we have a list of the utilities / some of the like water, whatever, which ones are we sharing with the town or which ones are we not? Just so we clarify kind of which ones we have to determine on our own, if that makes sense.
So it would be, we get a benefit. We don't really share it, but the fuel oil, we get a benefit from the town. So we used to have, Joe's Oil or whoever come out and deliver oil to our generator tank and to our bus garage. We now go to the town to get our oil. So we get a really reduced rate on that. So it's not fuel oil. It's not any of the electrics or natural gas or, rubbish, though we don't share that with the town. We benefit kind of like by a bigger contract. If the trash company has the Board of Ed wrapped in with the town and parks and everybody, they get a better rate, I imagine. So really, we're on our own with that to pay our own. Telephone, again, we're on our own, and water, we're on our own. So at central office, that would be the only area where we, on certain items, act like a tenant, right? Because it's a town-owned building. So that would be the only opportunity where we would share like the electrics or anything like that. And the natural gas is in question.
Okay, got you. And then, so we're buying fuel from the town?
We do. Yeah, we can, they have number 2 oil. So for our ability to use, and we can pump it into a tank on a pickup truck and take it in small portions to where we need it to refill the generator or to refill the other equipment.
Okay. Just curious, it's always been in our budget and not the town's overall that we would then, like, they budget for their oil. I'm just trying to see kind of, in an ideal world, we would not have to, we could pay them or we can reimburse them or some kind of thing, but it could be in an operating line of the town is where I'm going with this.
They still show it as a total purchase, but we journal entry it because if the 2 different financial sources.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
Just trying to see where it's all coming out of one bucket. So just trying to figure out
one tank.
Whereas if it's a little duplicative in nature for our budget to pay into their budget to then.
Well, in theory, they're offsetting the
Right.
portion that
Yeah.
we could ask. Maybe that's a question for
Yeah.
John and Matt. We could ask if they're offsetting the portion that we're paying.
Thank you. That's where I was going.
Yeah. Mr. Halloran?
Yeah, just a quick question on the phones again, Jason. You mentioned like transitioning a little bit over to like VoIP versus a traditional telephony, and switching from like a twisted pair copper wire to support VoIP. Do we have to use like fiber for that, or something more expensive for the actual line to replace them?
It'd be more Craig's world. He kind of operates those rooms, but yeah, I believe so.
He's
Craig,
still
you
here.
got your hand up.
Hi,
Go
Sean.
ahead.
That's a good technical question. We use voice over IP at the edge. Our phone service comes in over voice over IP, but in order to put voice over IP in the classrooms, we're looking at a significant six-figure type of investment to change out that level of the technology. So we are on the final generation of analog telephones in our buildings. We will have to face that elephant in the future. I am quite hopeful with the parts we've bought, the strategic partnerships we've had. I should be able to stave that off for 8 to 10 years, I'm hoping.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Dr. Stanley.
Hi, thanks. So when I was looking at the breakdown for the plant operations from the schools, I noticed for the water and sewer, particularly for the elementary schools and then Martin Kellogg, there's an ask what over like $10,000 of what was actually used. Can we look at those numbers and see if we can tighten up a little bit?
Okay. So that was for central office, which shows a zero, right? Which is, I'm not sure.
No, so if you look at the plant operations per school, and so you'd have to go under the school tabs. For
Yeah.
instance, like Anna Reynolds or Ruth Chafee, 411, which is water and sewer.
Yeah, and if we have a summer that's extra dry, we're going to see that increase. So
Okay.
it does fluctuate a little bit. It's not real static.
It just seems like we're consistently asking, 10 grand above what we actually use.
Again, it might be an opportunity if we want to, if we run over, then, where do we get it from? But it's, yeah, it's built to be able to withstand whatever weather we might have.
Okay.
But we can look into that, just do a little bit of analysis.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe like a look back of average over the last
Because
few
if
years.
that's
You
when all
want
the-
5 years again?
Yeah.
Okay.
If possible, yeah.
If it's, because it's about $10,000 per 5 schools, which would be $50,000. So even if we cut that in half,
Yeah. And seeing the full picture too of the building operations might be helpful as well.
I will get that to you.
Thank you.
All right. Are we, anything else for Mr. Plum? All right. I think our next up is, I'm looking at my order of operations here. Miss Foy was going to cover homebound instruction and human capital development.
Hi, good evening. So sorry, must be a delay. So
Hi, sorry.
It's okay, no problem. So I'll begin with homebound, K-12. That is on the second page. As you can see, listed 111 is the salaries. From this year until next year, there is a little over about $210 increase. That increase is only due to a contractual obligation. There was a slight increase in the coordinator salary for that. The coordinator salary for that per hour went from $56.28 to $57.93. So all other salaries, including teachers who support the students, remain consistent. So there is why that is that slight increase in the homebound program for K-12. Any questions on homebound? Okay. Next, I'll go right below that to our continuing and adult education program. If we take a look at, I'll go down to 550, where you see the first substantial increase from this year till next year. We go from 5,225 to 10,500. That is due to printing and producing brochures 2 times a year and sending them to all residencies in Newington in hopes of acquiring more people to come and participate in the adult education program. The next line item that you will see an increase in is right below the 582. That 582 line is for conferences. The $900 covers 3 conferences, one of which Dr. Abruzzi, who is the coordinator for adult ed, it is one that he needs to attend. It is called CAA, I think it's CAASE or CAACE, and that is a conference for those who support and lead the work in adult education. If you look down to the last line where it says supplies line item, well, number, not line item, supplies 611, that also has an increase from 854 to 1,662. I understand that is a substantial increase. That's doubled. That's due to a new web testing and e-testing system that is required by the state now. It used to be paper and pencil, and it is required for the ABE, ESL, GED, CDP, and all other acronyms. It is required for all of that. It helps with pre-testing. And then after 12 hours of instruction or post-testing. And again, that was something that we had to encumber because that is now something that an adult ed is required by the state.
So another unfunded mandate. They're just everywhere, aren't they?
One of the things that they prefaced it with is that they hope that it measures the attainable gains after the 12-hour of instruction. So they're hoping that it'll determine some measurable skill gain. So here we are, Ms. Prati. Any questions regarding adult education? Okay. I will flip 2 pages forward and then you will see, well, 2 pages backwards, and you will see our HCD budget. Starting right at the top, the 2 salaries that are our salaries for the department. That's myself and Mr. Diaz is the first line item. And then the second line item are our 3 ATs. They were previously in, correct me if I'm wrong, Lynn, but I think our salaries were allocated to central direction. And that's why it was previously 0. And now it's indicated there. Correct, Lynn?
It would help if I unmuted. I'm sorry. Yes.
It's okay.
Correct.
Thank you, Lynn.
Sorry, where are we?
HCD, program HCD. It is on the 4th page on the right. Got it? Okay. If we look at line items 530 and 550, well, 530 is our census, our pre-K census. A census previously, so it requires a permit. We have to get a permit to mail it out to each home. Then we pay for postage, as well as we pay a company called Dillon Mailing to create that census. And what we were doing in the past is we were just sending it to homeowners. We thought it would be best to now send it because Newington has an abundance of newly built apartments. And we realized that they are continuing to build new apartments and structures and things like that. So we're thinking in order to ensure that we are able to start each school year fully staffed and ready to go and have the number of allocated classrooms as needed, that we start to send these surveys to everyone, those who live in Newington in homes and in apartments, so that we're not scrambling at the last minute to provide the best support for our students. And we're not, incurring classrooms with increased class sizes for adults, and that each student is still able to get the individualized attention they need. So that is why we are paying those fees for our census.
Can you just clarify, is that 5:30?
That is
preschool.
5:30 and 5:82.
Okay.
1 second. My computer waits until it's my turn to speak to die. Okay, we're back. There was a reduction in line 582. That was just to, we went from 60 to 80,000 because we moved 20,000 to an account for professional learning, so that we wanted to ensure that there was enough money allocated when staff throughout the district would like to attend different PL opportunities that align with our district vision, mission, and goal, as well as their school goals. So that's why that reduction is there. Line item 599, there's an increase. That increase is because it's about $1,500 or so. That is for the professional development, our PDEC committee. We'd like to bring them together in the summer to do some summer work and planning. They did a lot of work on the teacher evaluation system, the one that was rolled out about 2 years ago. And then in the summer, we meet to reevaluate that and ensure we're still on the right track with the way that things are going within the schools, making the adjustments, and to discuss some of the professional learning opportunities that could potentially go forward the next year. So that goes into paying the hourly rate for the PDEC committee to meet for a very short amount of time. I believe last summer we met for 2 half days, so completely 1 full day, and it was a group of about 4 to 5 educators. And the last item, and other expenses, 810 went from 0 to 10,834. Lynn, correct me again if I'm wrong, but I believe it was allocated somewhere else in the past, and now it's here. This is for memberships and fees to different organizations. If you'd like to know those organizations, I can get them to you. I do think that, especially with Mr. Diaz joining, I think it's important that if we are able to keep those opportunities in there so that we can continue, myself and Mr. Diaz, to learn and grow together, I think that would be a great opportunity. And before I finish up, I want to backtrack because I did miss something. I said, I believe I said in 599, I only spoke to the increase of 1,500 for PDEC, but that overall cost, that number 17,750, includes that opportunity to work 2 half days in the summer with PDEC. But that also covers our stipends for our team mentors, who are our mentors for our beginning teachers, as well as when we do get paraeducators who come in the district, we give them an opportunity to take the Para-Pro and be reimbursed for it. And they usually are excited about that opportunity. So that's what those funds are allocated for. So are there any questions regarding HCD? Thank you.
I'm surprised Miss Weaver didn't ask about conferences.
Oh, there she is.
No, because we moved it down. I was gonna say, so I mean, it's closer. It wouldn't be. It's really only like 5,000 increase from the actual of 2025. So we were asking. I think last year there was also a request and then cut from 80 to 60.
Yep.
So
okay,
this is where it's already in line.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just be curious too how much for that line though for 599 in the PDEC. Because the actual is a 9.5 to then we are allocating 15 this year and then 1775 750, just kind of that increase over increase. How close we are this year to spending the 15,610.
Okay.
For that.
I will look into that. And that was 599 for
correct. Yeah.
1750 line. Okay.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have just a question back on, I'm sorry, back on the adult ed.
Yep.
You said that the printing and mailing costs for the brochures, are you finding it's helping? Like, was our enrollment higher this year than previous years?
So I asked the same question, and because we're still in the midst of the cycle, we're not sure yet. Like, we're still getting people. I asked the same question.
Okay, glad we're on the same
I
page.
wanted specific numbers, so I will see if we do have at least an estimated number at this time to be able to provide that.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
No problem.
And I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Well, Lynn, did you have something to add to?
I just wanted to remind everyone that the state funds $50,277 of the adult ed budget. It goes directly to the town, and they use that to supplement our funds.
Right. Okay. How much? You said 50,000?
$50,277.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Stanley?
Thank you. And I think you said this already, but can you just restate it for me? What is the line 550 to $9,500?
Are you in HCD?
Yes, HCD.
Okay. And what line was that?
550 for 9,500. I feel like I'm on a game show. Alex Trebek, I will take line 530.
And the winner is that is also that's the school census.
That's the school census.
Yep. So that's the increased mailing that we
Oh.
do. Before it was just homeowners, and now we're doing homeowners and apartments. So we have to pay a fee for a permit. Then we have to pay the fee for the stamps and things to mail. Then we pay Dillon Printing to print the surveys, and then they use the permit and the stamps to send it out.
And our
So all
motivation.
homeowners and a park. So pretty much everybody in Newington receives the pre-K census.
And what they're getting a census, and this is to help us like clarify how many students are coming. I'm unclear
Yes.
what
Yep.
they're doing.
Absolutely. Yep. That's exactly what it is.
And we have ever done that before? Or?
It's year to year. Yep. It's every. So in the past, let me correct that. In the past, it's been every 2 years, and we are hoping to now move forward with doing it more frequently every year.
Okay. That seems like a lot. No, 9,500.
It's also the postage, not just the printing.
Yep. Yep. So it's the postage, the printing, as well as the permit that we have to pay for to do that. I can get it all broken out for you if you without a problem, Dr. Stanley.
I think maybe if we can compare it to what it was in the past, and then we know like how much it's increasing.
Okay.
And maybe like, I don't know if it's worth considering, like, since the apartments potentially turn over more often, but homes, I know there's like renters and everything, but like for homes that are like owner occupied, I don't know if we can tell, but maybe for like apartments, we do it every year. And for all other residences, it's every 2 years. Like maybe if you could look into like what the cost of that difference might be, if we can cut a little bit, because I agree. I think it's a great idea that you're sending it out to the apartments because there are so many of them. And, you know, we need to know. We have the pages and pages of documentation that Mr. Farisi had gone over previously of like the estimates for students. But I think it's great to get that accurate information.
Okay.
But yeah, just if maybe we just do apartments every year and owners or homes every 2.
Okay, I'll get those figures.
It's asking for students 0 to 5, right?
Yep.
In the house. Okay.
I'll get those numbers for you
Thank
for
you.
the yearly for apartments and every 2 years for residences.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Weaver.
I'm sorry, Miss Forrest. She just wants to go home. I'm just. But I just on the previous page for adult education, I just didn't know if we had gone over the last lines of the 599, 690, and 730. And just was curious. It's not a bad thing when it's not in the final, but there was a couple that were not in the last request, and one was a $72,000 item. So I just didn't know what that 730 line was. or the
You're an adult ed?
correct. That's what I had.
I don't see 17.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
I was on different pages, guys.
Okay.
This is what's happening. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Other supplies, guys. This is why you do 2 pages. The other ones, just what was the 643 and the 810? Just was curious what they were for the adult ed. Is that one right? Yeah.
Do you have that,
643 and 810 on adult ed?
Correct.
They're on the next page, Talisha. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, sorry. I just.
Oh, that would help. Yes. I'm like, I'm not finding.
Do you want an answer? Because I have it in my hand.
Go ahead, Lynn. Thank you.
You're welcome. The 643 are workbooks for Kaplan, Math Sense, paperback literature, Score Boost workbooks, and vouchers workbooks. And the 810 is membership to CAACE, which is the adult ed conference.
Thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome.
We're all just discombobulated. It's great.
And I had it.
Thanks, Lynn.
You're welcome.
Teamwork. All right. That concludes Ms. Foy's items that she is speaking to, unless there are any questions. All right. It looks like Marilena is back on for special education administration.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, starting with special ed. Let me flip back to that page. All right, so again, we've moved some things around. Oh, it looks like it froze there. We've moved some things around, so there's some changes, but basically what we did is we had, a lot of our contracted services for like students with hearing impairments. Those are now going to show up when we go over to the speech language budget for administration. So we have our students within the schools who have 8 FMs. They might have hearing aids. They may have teachers of the hearing impaired. So now we've covered those in the schools. These contracts would now be students that are either at outplacements or they're the expectation for repairs that we would need to do for like OT equipment. We had a student who moved in, has some equipment. If there's something that is district wide, then that's what's going to show up in this budget. So that's what we're going to go over today. And I think it's really, really important for just me to start again, not to belabor the point, but that we have, I believe I pulled some numbers, and when I started, I believe it was like 2016, 2017, but I pulled the 2018 numbers and we were at 585 students. And our prevalence rate was around 14.5%. We are awaiting our 10-1 certification number, but we are currently looking at 704. We're doing our CDOT cleaning reports literally on a daily basis, and that 704 number has not changed. So I feel pretty confident about that, and which will bring us to 18.5%. So we have gone up substantially, 14.5% to 18.5%. 585 students, almost 600 students is 704. So keeping all of those things in perspective and knowing how much special ed costs have increased, these are some of the increases that you're going to be seeing in this portion of the budget. So like I'll start with 330. So these are the unknowns, right? So these are our students. We've done a good job of looking at what I called IEEs. Those were the independent consultants that we've embedded into the schools. But these are the unknowns. So they can happen anywhere. They can happen at an outplacement. They can happen even within our schools, but it is beyond what I've budgeted for the schools. And these would include something called an AT eval or an AAC eval. We are seeing many more of these. It's an augmentative communication evaluation. And so and that's why we're seeing an increase in our iPads, because we're seeing so many students now who are coming in who might be nonverbal, and we're moving from the low tech to the high tech in order to give our kids their voices. A typical evaluation was around $1,000, $1,500. I have a quote right now for an AAC is $300 an hour with a minimum of 10 hours plus round trip mileage. So this PO would need to be $3,000. And then again, that does not include the evaluator's participation in the PPT. So the good news is that we do a lot of our PPTs virtually. So we're not getting charged for mileage for when they're coming in for the PPT, but they do have to come in to be in person to do the evaluation. So, and that's a straightforward, what we call AT eval. That's a assistive technology eval. The AAC evals would be those other more intensive evals, and that we're looking at would include eye gaze communication and devices for students with more physical disabilities. So that's an estimated of a minimum of 15-hour evaluation, and that is going for $250 an hour. So henceforth, why you're going to see a little bit of an increase in that allocation. Go
Ms.
ahead,
Bieber has a question. All right, just curious too, and this would fall under, I would say, our requirement to educate students, just clarifying that. And then also just curious, who sets the minimum hours? That's, I'm assuming, by.
So there, and I don't know if you guys have heard, but the state is looking at that right now, right?
Yeah.
So it is basically whoever your evaluator is. So if we're using NEAT, then NEAT is setting the which would be Oak Hill. So they're setting the rates. If we're using Soundbridge, then CREC is setting the rate. So there's no regulation. So they just kind of pick these rates. So all of a sudden it's like, where did $250 an hour come from? But yes, so it is not regulated right now, and it is really, and there are a very limited number of people who do these evals, so it's a very, very competitive market.
Thank you.
Great
Just wanted
question.
to shine that to the process.
Great question. Okay, so the next one we'll go to is the 561 and the 563. You'll see some movement in numbers, again, with Lynn coming in and doing some auditing. We had students who attended CREC outplacement, and we were considering those as 563 private outplacements, but technically, because they're run by CREC, they should fall under the magnet. Even though it's an outplacement, it's run by CREC. So we just did some movement of numbers of the students who are attending the different facilities. And then for 599, you'll see that there is a $28,000 credit. That was my error. When I was putting in my budget, I guess you have to put like an A, B, and C. I put the $28,000 for CERC, but then I didn't put in the A, B, or C. So therefore, it never carried over. But I was like, wow, that's a really interesting number. But that is our CERC. So we're going to fix that. Somebody wonderful like Karen or Lynn will take care of that for me. But that is our CERC contract that we utilize to support co-teaching. And then again,
what's it supposed to be?
The CERC contract for co-teaching.
But it's negative 28,000.
So it's supposed to be 28,000, but I didn't hit the A, B, and C. So it didn't carry it over. So it looked like it was actually taking away $28,000.
Okay, so it's actually 28,000.
So that'll go, yes, that'll be
Okay.
28,000.
Okay, thank you.
And then everything else we tried to cut. Yes.
Sorry. So just clarifying too, this was a move around too of other purchase services because the 599 we appropriated 268,000 and then it goes down to 28. Not
So-
complaining about that, but you know.
So perfect timing. So another change in way things are done, not on our level, but at the state level. So my IDEA grant, was for 2 years, which I don't know enough about other grants, but it's a very bizarre grant. Like it'll be 25, 27. So I'm supposed to spend 80% of my grants in 25. And then you're supposed to pay the second half in the second year. We've never done that. We're very conservative and we saved those funds. The state is no longer allowing us to do that. So we've had a reserve of funds. So Lynn and I are going to go through my IDEA grant, and we're going to offset some of these things in 599 with the IDEA grant. We don't want to put it in as an offset because it's not going to be there moving forward. Because once I catch up, then that money's not going to be there. So just know that it's a reduction this year because we can do that because we had been conservative, and the state is making us, like literally Lynn went in to go open up the grant, and it literally said, nope, you haven't spent your old money yet. You have to spend your old money before you can spend your new money, even though we have money that we could allocate to other things. So we're going to clean that up. So we do have a little bit of a savings here, but moving forward, that reserve is not going to be there.
Did you say how much that was?
I believe it was $40,000 or $50,000. I can look into it if you'd like.
Okay. No, that's okay. So it's $50,000 that is going to be less this year, but then next year it'll be $50,000. Okay. Thank you.
Most likely. Yes.
And is that when you have to wait to apply, or is this like
that one's it's pretty automatic. Okay. And with our numbers going up, unless they flat fund, because that's a possibility. If they don't flat fund, then we should get more because our numbers have gone up.
Okay. And it's actually 85% that we have to spend down, not 80.
Perfect.
And would that kind of structure continue, or
it has to? Yeah.
So you have to spend 80. How is that? So you'd have to spend 15% the second year, but 85%.
So 85 the first year, then the 15% would be left for the second year.
And basically what they want you to do is use that 15% to follow through until the next grant opens. Just like Title I.
Every year. It's just
correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like,
but we've had a reserve. We've always had a reserve. So
right.
just in case is no longer.
Okay. So you're applying every year or every other year. Okay. So it's not like I have 85,000 this year, or say it's 100,000. I have 85,000 this year and 15,000 the next. 85 is 15, 85, 15. It's not, I still get, we're still going to get 85, the 15.
You're still going to get you're still going to get the 100.
Okay.
100,000. But again, then at that 15, and then you can start using your other 85.
Okay.
And in some districts, they actually spend the entire grant in the first year.
Okay. Interesting. And so they're doing 100 every year, essentially, okay.
100%.
Correct. But I'm always of the fact of try to be as conservative as possible so you have something to spend until the next grant opens, because we don't get the funds on July 1st.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to confirm, we're going to go down $50,000 or thereabouts in that line with IDEA grant offset or credit, whatever we want to use for 1 year.
Yes, for 1 year. So 611, 616, as I mentioned before, the PTOT supplies. So our students who require some extra equipment, we needed a a Hoyer lift. We did, I guess they run on batteries, and it's a really specific battery. So it's little things like that. We want to make sure that we are covering. Again, we don't know where students are going to move into. I don't know what building they're going to be in. So that therefore this and our OTs, PTs are district wide. So these little amounts live in the 30 account as opposed to in the schools. 644 is our subscription to News to You, which is a research-based program that we use in our more intensive programs for students who need a more modified curriculum.
Is that moved from a different place?
Yes.
We've had that previously.
So what we were doing before is that was one that we actually had at the schools, and we took the individual subscriptions and put them all into 30.
Okay.
And then the 810 is professional dues, and that remains the same. There was no change. And that's it. Any questions?
Dr. Stanley?
Thanks, Marlena. So for lines 561 and 563, if we've combined them, they're going from a 2.9 million in 24-25, and now we're asking for 4.1 million. Is that, so that's like $1 million because of it, and we're thinking that that's the increase in about 100 special ed students. It just seems like a really large increase of $1 million.
But we did allocate 4.7 under the 563 line.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's decreased.
It's less than what we allocated last year, I agree.
Yeah.
But it's still $1 million more than what we used.
So again, those are costs that are beyond our control. So if we have to, we are just now starting to get our contracts for next year with the shortage of related service personnel. The rates, I believe that's what we're looking at, right? The other purchase, the 561, those are the outplacements, right?
Right.
So what the tuitions are increasing, the related services are increasing. So we have to forecast that. That has been the typical. And then what we also have to do is, depending on what time of the year the student goes out, there might be some additional services that have to happen in between. So we have to be able to kind of forecast now without having the new rates.
Gotcha. Okay. And then this may be a broader question for Lynn. So what happens to these funds if we don't use them? So we appropriate 4.7 million, but we only use 2.3 million. What happened to that $2 million?
Last year? Or?
Yeah, like just in general, when we're appropriating money, but we only spend a certain amount. I love your cat. I have 2 Black Panthers myself. And my daughter just bombed us to say goodnight. So family, right?
Yeah, got all of them. The money would either be utilized for something at end of the year that was unanticipated, or it would be used to fund the non-lapsing fund.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I didn't want to. And I guess to Dr. Stanley's point too, like, are we on track for that? I guess the actuals, when do we know, like, we're on track for the 4.785? If we're seeing those increases already, like, are we already over 2.3 million in that kind of spending account? If that makes sense, like, we're probably going to hit an X amount by the end of the year is the guess.
So what we can do is we can give you the projected of students we currently have, but literally somebody can move into the district tomorrow,
Right.
and that number will change. We
Yep.
can have somebody who move out of the district tomorrow, and the number
Fair.
will change. We're identifying kids obviously at an incredible rate. So we will, it's just such an unknown, but we can give you a forecast of what we know. Because now for this year, the one good thing that came out of the most current legislation is what we were having was that because there was a shortage, we would get literally an email or a letter from an outplacement saying that their SLP services were going from $150 an hour to $250 an hour because they now had to contract out for that service because their SLP left. So now they were paying a higher rate for the SLPs and they were turning around and putting it on the districts. The state has said they can't do that anymore. If you've signed a contract, if the outplacement now has to pay extra for a service, they can't in the middle of a contract increase our numbers. What they can do is go back to PPT and say, oh, we need to add 3 extra hours of SLP services, and then they can make up their money that way. But we have more control over that because we're like, why exactly do you need 3 extra hours of services? So we're a little bit more in control of that. But it used to be that they literally during the contract could increase our rates because they had incurred an expense.
And actually, if you look at the 561 and 563 lines, we reduced them by $724,300 because they had planned for this year to outplace those students that we ended up keeping in the district with that wonderful seed grant that we received.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, without grabbing my calculator, is those 2 lines, are they close? Like from last year to this year?
So they're close in that I'm going to knock on wood. We've been pretty stable with our level of outplacements. We did have, we balanced out this year. We had a couple of students who moved out, but we had a couple of really significant students with significant disabilities move in. And when students with a disability comes to the district and they're already at an outplacement, we are obligated to keep them at their outplacement until we can determine if we have services and are able to meet their needs in district. So once a student moves in, we have to automatically continue that placement. So we do the best that we can, but it's those unknowns.
Oh. Okay, I'm Dr. Stanley.
Thanks for reminding me about that seed grant. So the seed grant, how many years do we get that for, or is this potential?
2 currently.
Huh?
We get it for this year and next year. Currently, we're not sure if they're going to put that into the next biennial budget.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I will be fighting for it with the legislature.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, do we think we're estimating enough money for you for the care of these kids? Because it went down a little bit, right?
We actually increased our estimate of the excess cost grant since we are getting more money than we had anticipated. Since the costs have gone up so much, we actually increased what we were going to estimate for next year to this year's actual $1.7 million. So that's another offset of $500,000 additional.
Which also should be higher, but it's not.
Which should be much higher, much higher.
Because it doesn't adjust for inflation ever.
No.
Yeah.
All right, moving to 2140, which I believe is our psychological services. The 119 line, I believe, is about $10,500. every year we have the opportunity to have school psych interns. And that money is to pay the interns. There is a school psych deficit right now. Like there are not enough. I think we're getting a bubble. So I think that they're coming. But over the last couple of years, the programs at the schools, at the universities has changed. And school psychs can now do their internships while they're employed. So they were skipping the whole internship thing and taking jobs. And so we were not, because we only offer $10,000, of course, we're going to take a salaried position as opposed to just a $10,000 stipend. So they, what we have noticed is that having the school psychs is an incredible benefit to the district. It's an extra pair of hands, but we just have and I think you've had that opportunity, or maybe you guys haven't had the opportunity to meet our school psychs yet. But, or for me to do, did I do my school psych? I can't remember. But our school psychs have been around forever. Like they're like lifers in Newington. And they have an extreme knowledge base. In that internship, when you have student teachers who are DSAPed, it's sometimes such a disadvantage for them because that mentorship that you get when you are doing your internship is just incredible. So if we have interns who will take that assignment, we want them. So that $10,000 is for that to kind of entice those students to come. And then the $599, we put in, I believe, $10,000 also for risk assessments. Again, one of those unfunded mandates that is out there that we now have to do risk assessments on students. But it is a evaluation that is very warranted because sometimes the risk assessments will let us know if there are some mitigating factors, if there are some strategies that we can put in place. And I think Dr. Brummett has been able to use that information rather than expelling some of our students. So again, a very good use of some funds.
Ms. Weaver?
Thanks. Just curious, Marilyn, is the intern year round or?
It is.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
It
That's
is.
less than a public policy intern, I would know. But that sounds really great. Just curious for the $599, we had allocated in the actual, this might be just from the Lynn movement, but it was 48, then it went to 0 appropriated, then it went to 10,000. So I'm just assuming this is a movement of accounts.
It is.
Okay.
Yep, we moved things to the, oh, and that was probably the consultant that we had hired. And now that is a salaried position. So now she shows up. I can't remember if we put her in the high school or if we parceled her salary out because she really is everywhere.
The school psychologist that, that we
School
added
psych,
last
okay.
year. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm jealous that they get paid because I do not get paid for my internship. So
Social work, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Because Cherie, our school psychologist, school social worker at the high school, has one, and I go, "Who's paying for that?" She goes, "They don't get paid." Because I'm like, Cherie, you're supposed to let me know that because I think I have to pay for that. She's like, "No." It's like, why? Why is that? That's very interesting. I think you should talk to somebody about that.
I know I should.
Because I'm telling you, it's worth it.
But I'm almost done, so it's okay.
Okay, perfect. And then just quickly, 2150 is our speech language. 430 is for repairs. 599 again is for our SoundBridge contracts that I had talked about previously. Again, those would be the students who are at an outplacement or maybe ECA or one of the magnet schools who have the FM systems, hearing aids, teacher of the hearing impaired. So those would fall under the 30 account. And then 730 is for hearing equipment, new purchases. Kids lose their the little pieces of their hearing aids and we need to replace them, so on and so forth. And that is just a little bit of a cost there.
Mr. Holleran?
Hey, thanks. Could you just help me understand line 599? I think that's an accounting move, but it seems large.
It used to be in special education and it was moved where it belongs because it's for the hearing impaired. So it belongs in speech and hearing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Weaver?
Sorry, is that solely Soundbridge? Is there anything else in it?
So I can look into that, but pretty much Soundbridge is who we use. There might be an American School for the Deaf in there. There might be some ASL translators, depending on if there's a company that we use to do translations for ASL.
And those are also hard to come by and going up. Great.
So much, yeah.
Thank you.
It's all Soundbridge.
It's all Soundbridge? Okay. And is that, how many students is that service then? Like typically?
In the 30 account?
Yeah. I'm guessing it's dependent on the level of need for you.
It is.
Okay.
Because there's different services within each contract. So if they get a teacher of the hearing impaired, if it's for the audiologist, so depending on the mapping, there's all the different services that go into it. So one student may have a $20,000 contract, another student may have a $40,000 contract.
Okay.
There's 12 students that are identified.
Thank you.
I figure it's over 10, so I can say 12.
All right. Does that cover, Marilyn, all of the areas that you had tonight?
It does.
Well, you've been a very popular participant in our budget process.
It has been an absolute honor to represent this department.
We appreciate it. Lot goes into our special education program, without a doubt. It looks like, according to my notes, Ms. Freeman has one more area to cover.
That's correct. I'm going to review curriculum and instruction, but Dr. Brummett, I just want to review some of the curricular areas that are carried in the 30 budget, just with a tiny bit of explanation. So in 30, if you start at the top at 1002 in art, you'll see that there is a small amount for supplies, and those are supplies that are used for spotlighting our artists, especially around the art show. You're probably going to have the question of why did we spend $3,500 in 24-25? And I don't know. I know that it's down to 500. I don't know if we have scaled back on that, but I don't know why there was a drop from 2 years ago. But I would add that any drop in expense is usually good news. Next in English language arts, so that's program 1012. 599 is other purchase services, and remember that yesterday we couldn't figure out where Common Lit was. It is carried there. So we keep Common Lit usually often in the 30 account. So when we have things that are district-wide, it would usually be carried in that 30 account. Sometimes we'll break it down by school. And I'm sorry, that's not where the Common Lit is. That is where IXL and benchmark training is. We did find Common Lit, though. I think somebody asked a question about it at one of the schools. Jessica, you did. And so we figured out where that was. We now have put Common Lit into a bucket of we anticipate to be able to purchase that with realized savings. So here comes this language. You can see that in the 599 account for English language arts, how there was an ask of $17,120. Both of those things are the benchmark training and IXL. The 10,000 came off for benchmark training because we actually now have a credit with the company. So that's money we don't have to spend. The 7,000 will be removed. It was one of the program areas. It was my error in asking Ms. Sear to remove that because the entire IXL package will also be purchased, hopefully with realized savings. IXL is carried in science, social studies, math, and language arts. So we divvy up the price of that entire program based on approximately how many students are going to be using it. But it makes more sense, again, to hold it in the 30 account for administration, because it's a district-wide use of a product.
My daughter happened to be going to bed and saying goodnight to me when you said IXL, and she said, I hate IXL. And I said, too bad.
Listen, it doesn't surprise me. Yes, Jessica.
So just clarifying, you're removing the 7,000 because we're divvying it in other accounts.
So the 7,000 should have been removed before this budget book got to you. I am telling you that was my mistake.
No.
We have a beautiful spreadsheet, and that I just did not put that on. I put the other subjects. So that is a 7,000 that will come out of the budget.
Is just asking for you or Lynn, was that included in the budget request?
Yeah, it was included in an original budget request. Yep.
So like if we cut, right, it's
Right.
coming off.
It would be part of part of some of the materials that we hope to purchase with realized savings. So being able to kind of anticipate about where we are with our budget now.
Just saying we can reduce the superintendent's budget by this amount as well.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. In mathematics, we carry the 599, and that is also IXL. You'll see that it's more expensive in mathematics because we have more students in math that use it than ELA. And again, we're going to be purchasing that with realized savings. In 1022, that's music. You're gonna have to flip the page. You're going to see a really big bump there in supplies and also in the other expenses. If you go and you look at the schools, you'll see reductions in all of these digital platforms that our music teachers were using. There was one that was very unique to the elementary level. One middle school was using Noteflight, and they were using Smart Music. And so after about the last 4 or 5 years, they have finally come to consensus about the program that they want to use district-wide. So you'll see a reduction in the schools, but now it's just carried up to 30. Again, because it's the same product being used district-wide. Okay. Onto science. That's IXL as well in the 599. In 2010 is English learners, which really should be called multi-language learners. And what we carry there are 2 items. Imagine Learning is a product that, if you think about Rosetta Stone, that's kind of something that people are like, oh yeah, I know that it's like that, but for young kids in elementary, and something that is a little bit more palatable for them as well. And then we're also carrying some Benchmark Express workbooks in there. Benchmark does an amazing job of tailoring many of their texts specifically for multilingual learners who are much earlier in their stages of development. And again, that's going to be across all of the elementary schools, so we carry it at the district level. Questions so far? Oh man,
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm
just curious. So we're putting for the salaries. Who's that? Sorry. For salaries on multi-language learner, is that there's because I thought I just saw salaries in other ones for the other multi-language. So I just was wondering, is that an admin or like?
No, it's not. It's a teacher. 111's a teacher.
Okay. Is that a district-wide one we're using then, or?
So I don't, Lynn is going to going to have to speak a little bit more to that. Multi-language learners, EL teachers are actually all district-wide. Every year, based on student enrollment, I assign them to their schools. Sometimes, so this past year, we have like 1.4 FTE at John Patterson. The year before, it was 1.2 FTE. So it's all about looking at the percentages. So Lynn would have to speak to specifically why that one's carried in the 30 account.
That's our bilingual teacher that has an
That
unaffiliated.
makes sense. That makes sense.
In the budget, she's UA, so I put her in 30.
Okay. So she's not in the Wallace one?
No, she's unaffiliated.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, Lynn, thank you for pointing that out. That actually does make a lot of sense because as we think about expanding the bilingual program, right now it's housed at John Wallace Middle School, and as Ada continues to evolve that, we've had conversations about how could she do some work at the elementary level. We actually want to be the best program you can have would be at the elementary level where kids learn language the best. But we also want to be able for her to expand, maybe doing some consulting at the high school as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on to the last one, it's 2210, and that's curriculum and assessment. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that we do, but there's very few line items in there. One of the biggest line items that we carry is the salaries for curriculum writing. Curriculum writing is per the NTA contract. I think this year it's $42.55 an hour. It will go up next year according to whatever has been negotiated. There is a big bump from last year in the salaries for curriculum writing. The reason for that is the year before, we completely underestimated the amount of money that we needed for the curriculum revisions. So a lot of that was in the elementary area of not really having a deep understanding of some of the revisions we would have to do after benchmark was in place for 1 year. But in working with Bev, we did think that that was going to be a priority. We wanted to make sure that that curriculum was revised, especially after 1 year of implementation. And when Lynn came on board, she was very quickly was able to sort of pull some salaries out from other areas that she knew would not be expended. Oh, sorry. Some questions on curriculum writing. And I would say, just for the edification of the board, all of our curriculum is written by our teachers and overseen by an administrator. The only time that we do not have teachers write curriculum is if there is a curriculum that needs revisions, especially because there's been a change to state standards. If no teacher volunteers for any of the posting, nobody applies, then the curriculum coordinator that oversees that program would do the curriculum writing. I think Mr. Sharma has his hand raised.
Yeah, just a quick question. What's the hourly rate for curriculum writing right now, and is it gonna go up maybe like 4% next year?
Right now it's $42.55. I don't know what it is next year. It's probably a couple dollars more. It would be right in the NTA contract, though.
It goes up.
That's the same. And how many hours? How many hours do you think we did this year?
I can actually tell you that. Let me just pull that up.
While you're looking, next year it's going to be $43.72 an hour.
Okay.
It's in Appendix B of the teacher's contract.
Okay, so the amount that I am requesting, we would have to do some math here.
For next year, you put in 2,040 hours.
Yeah.
At $43.72 an hour.
Mm-hmm. So we, and that includes the money for curriculum writing, and it also includes money for online facilitators for students that need to be supported in a different learning platform, sometimes for credit recovery, and then sometimes per a PPT decision or a 504 decision.
So we anticipate like a higher, like more hours, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the last items that are carried in there, that's a really big ticket, is Power School. I believe that Power School was reduced this year, and Lynn, you're going to have to help me if you were able to maybe negotiate a little bit of a smaller price from them.
I am trying still to get them to cut it to 4%. They asked us to pay 7%. I will not pay 7%. I'm working on it still. I'm working on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hopefully they give you an answer within a month or two.
And the very last item that's carried in there, it's just resources for curriculum writing. So that usually is in the form of maybe working with instructional coaches, and we're providing them some professional learning around different curricular areas or instructional frameworks. So we'll buy texts and we'll do book studies for that because they support so much the implementation of curriculum. It also could serve as resources for the curriculum writers if they were wanting to supplement anything, maybe some of the content. That's Dr. Brummett. Am I the one standing between the board and saying goodnight?
Well, there is one more thing to look at, and that's the questions Q&A from the other night. But you are, thank you very much. And thanks to the entire team for unbelievable work and the detail that's been presented tonight. I've got a very long list of questions and follow-up, so we will do our best to have that ready for the board at our next meeting. Would it be okay for me to go on to follow-up questions?
Did you want me to speak to the health and nursing services?
Or
is it okay?
Sure, if we haven't covered that already, yes.
The health and nursing services is very, very small budget. It's just purchase services professional, 7,200, and other purchase services of 11,590. So the entire budget is going up $300 year from this year to next. So it's de minimis. Does anyone have any questions that I could try and answer?
Looks like Miss Beatrice. You're on mute, Mary. Mary, you're on mute.
All right. Am I correct to assume that the salaries for nursing services are buried in another line? Is it in
They're in each school.
school? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam, did you still have a question?
No, she answered it. It was about the total nurses. We answered that last night.
Okay, but Sam has his hand raised too.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah, Sam. Okay, I don't think.
Oh, I took it down. Sorry.
Thank you. No worries. All right.
All right.
I think we're good then for that.
I will move on to just some follow-up questions that were carried over from last evening. Hopefully everyone can see this page. You should see the questions and clarification page displayed. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So I wasn't sure if we completed that answer last night, so I did want to put here that we do have 10 full-time nurses, 4 at the high school, which includes the nurse supervisor and the district float nurse. He goes to all the schools to cover, but he's based at the high school when he's not needed elsewhere. There is one each at Kellogg Wallace. Kellogg does have a contracted extra nurse due to significant medical needs, but that is not a permanent nurse. And each elementary school has one nurse each. This figure does not include the temporary extra nurse at Kellogg and the 2 students in the district, one at Chafee and one at Green, who have their own LPN due to medical needs. There was a question last evening about the art teacher at Green that had a big increase, and that indeed is due to that individual moving into the retirement increment program. That's at least an $11,000 increase to her salary. I also wanted to make sure, I don't know if any of the board members saw it, but under at the end of the NHS back pages, there was a listing of the G98 interdistrict grant. It's listed there as an offset of $100,000, but we did not get that grant yet. Rest assured, though, that it's not factored into this budget, so there's no budget impact there. We just didn't take it out when we removed the grant because we are not going to know about the grant until May. We do need a little more time for a more comprehensive answer to the questions about paras. I can tell you that one of the reasons we see an increase in the cost is one of our recruitment strategies earlier this year was to give each para a $1 per hour raise, so that would carry into next year. But we did need to do a deeper dive to get the board more accurate accounting of numbers and any other reasons why there's a more dollar increase there. So more to come on that next week. I think there was a question about the outside evaluations. Right now there's $47,500 in the budget for that. Common Lit was cut, but we did move it to a buy head. I believe Kristen addressed that earlier. And the reason why there was some disparity in the non-athletic NHS fund was it had some duplicated positions, and those were removed, and that did reduce the total. So other than the para questions from last night, I believe this covers questions that were not answered during the board meeting last night. But I'll turn it back over to the chair for further questions or comments.
Thank you. I guess I have a question on the G98. Is that something that we've gotten in the past, or is that a new grant?
That's the grant that funded the Nor'easter Academy this year.
Oh, G9. Okay. I never heard it referred to as
we just use the coding. It's the interdistrict grant, but yes, just has codes.
We're hoping to get it, but we won't find out until.
Unfortunately, not until this budget process is over.
Okay.
But we do really hope to keep affording that program. It's been a huge benefit.
Yes, agree. Okay. But the program is in the budget.
It is not.
Oh, it's not in the budget.
But the program costs approximately, Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong, about 150 or 60,000.
Approximately 150. So all we've budgeted for is 48.
So the part that the grant doesn't cover.
Sorry, 64.
Okay, because the program was teacher, social worker.
Yes, teacher, social workers, a little bit for snacks and transportation. So those are the costs above and beyond, in addition to the salaries.
Okay.
But the salaries, as always, are the biggest component of that. It's a very small teacher-student ratio. But we've worked diligently with our grant writers, and the staff at the Nor'easter Academy did a great job giving me information to write the grant. So I'm optimistic, but there's no way to know what other people have thrown their hat in the ring for that grant.
So there's a portion of it, 68,000 is what you said?
The total budget for that program is 164,000, and 100,000 was paid with the G98 grant. So we kept the 64,000 in the budget, hoping that we will get that $100,000 grant and be able to continue the program into the new year.
Okay. So and I'm not necessarily suggesting this right this second, but if we wanted the program and we can't rely on the grant, we would have to add 100,000 to the budget to continue it.
That's correct.
And if we don't do that, that $64,000, would it go to like having a portion of the program, or is it just like we would cut that if we don't want the program?
That would be a decision we would have to make this coming spring when we get word on the grant about whether maybe could do some projections with Lynn about what that would cover. I mean, it really would be about that. And about what we want to do, partially run it, limit the number of teachers,
Cut hours, cut days, something like that.
Yes,
okay.
We did actually add a little time this year. It's a 2.5-hour block now instead of 2, because they were feeling there was not enough time. So there could be some cost savings that way. We'll have to redesign it if we want to continue it without that grant.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Weaver?
Hey, just to follow up, I think just a general question request for any of the ones where, so the example being the last line, reducing the total. Can we just get the updated pages next week too, or just where those reductions were, just so we know like overall where those were, like the one that Kristen was alluding to in that one?
Certainly, I'll ask Karen to work on that.
Perfect.
And that 100,000 is not in the budget.
She's talking about the other adjustments.
Just the other adjustments.
Sorry, the like non-athletic fund reduced from the total, like those kinds of things. Just
those were already done.
That's already in there. Yeah.
There was a special ed one, and there's one that Kristen mentioned.
There was 7,000 in ELA and 50,000 in IDEA offsets. So you will see that as a differential. And we're also just so the board knows, especially our newer board members, while this budget presentation is live and has happened, we're still working behind the scenes to see if there's anything that we could reduce from the budget. Sometimes you get more information, something comes in lower than expected. So we rest assured that hasn't stopped, even though the budget process has begun.
Thanks. And just to clarify, the 47,500 is for 24-25 for outside evaluations, or 25-26 up to now?
I believe that's what we've budgeted for next year, but Lynn or
30 account.
Okay.
Ms. Beatrice?
Just a quick question to backtrack to the G98 grant. Do you know an approximation of how many students are impacted by that program?
Yes, we typically serve 15 students per semester, or 30 for the year. So 30 in totality.
Dr. Stanley?
Thank you. I had a question talking about like how things were coded in 113. And I know that the union staff is being broken out. But what I don't appreciate, so for example, under the curriculum and assessment on 2210, where those secretaries lived before and admins in 113 and 118, because I never see anything go down for the cost of secretaries in schools, and we just seem pretty top heavy with our secretaries. So where did they live before, or did we hire new people in that department?
The curriculum and assessment was in 119.
Mm-hmm. 119 went from 174, but then we've added like 386,000.
That's 118. Those are administrators. They used to be in 2320. That's not the 118 is administration.
Okay. So they were in part of 118 down there.
Correct.
And so, Dr. Stanley, I can speak to my position, but then it would also be Bev's as well. What used to happen is, as an assistant superintendent, I am responsible for all instructional programs. So my salary would be broken out by little itty bitty bits across departments. And I think in an effort to be more transparent, they just put my salary where in the department where we are, and that would be the same thing. It's not about me and Beverly, but for those two positions, now they just live in the department where we work. Is that correct, Ms. Boyer?
Yes, and actually it was more people that had been apportioned. The secretaries were apportioned across all the different places for curriculum and instruction. And also social workers were put against art and math, and all of the leaders were apportioned all over everywhere, the same way the teachers were apportioned all over everywhere. And we tried to streamline it, correct it, and put them where they belong.
I think she's saying, Dr. Stanley, are you saying why does the 113 line in that go from 0 to 157?
Right.
From 24, 25 to 25, 26?
Because they were down in 119 and apportioned across all of the district for this. One of the secretaries was apportioned for a little bit of everything. Because she worked in curriculum, they apportioned a piece of them. She had 0.15, 0.15, 0.15, 0.15 in all of the programs across the district.
Okay.
Would it help, Dr. Stanley, to have us show you, much like we're
Last
going
year.
to do for non-certified, the total accounting of all district-wide secretaries and vice, so you see the head count? Would that help?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it sounds like we haven't had new hires, but that might be helpful because
No new hires. I will say that potentially a few have been upgraded due to increased responsibilities, but I think let's get that head count so at least kind of compare apples to apples.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then for some of our priorities and just how and part of our mission, we have some paid positions that are grant funded for their salaries. Is there a reason why we pay above what the grant provides?
It would be a contractual obligation, correct?
Yes.
Right. There are salaries that the grant does not cover the entire amount, so we would have to offset it.
Okay, and that's written in the grant. For instance, I have certain grants that like they're worded that the grant will pay up to 70% of the fund.
Correct. There's limits
Yeah.
as to how much you can actually put in salaries.
Right. Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so that's all you have, right, Dr. Brummett, for?
Yes, that is it for tonight's updates. Clearly, there'll be many more to come next week.
And we're meeting on Wednesday next week.
Yes, I can show the board
at 7
schedule. Yeah, we have next week,
Wednesday,
the 18th and the 19th.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so and then obviously if anyone has any questions between now and then, you can send them over to Dr. Brummett, and yeah, we'll just continue from there. I think next time is that when we're gonna adopt it for, right? We adopt the budget as ourselves, and then we can start cutting or adding whatever we want. Okay. All right, I will now turn it over to public participation on any matter related to board responsibilities. If you're in the meet, you can raise your hand to be recognized. Seeing none, move over to remarks by board members. Ms. Weaver.
Sorry, everyone, but I have to say thank you again. Thanks to everyone who is online. Appreciate all of the work and effort once again. So our round tours tonight. and special shout out to Marilena for explaining all of our special ed. It's so nice to have you back this year to present, which I'm sure you enjoy, just many hours of us digging through. But obviously one of our biggest budget drivers and one of those things that, we see a lot of frustration with when it comes to the funding mechanisms at the state or lack thereof. So just want to say thank you to everyone again for our part 1 and part 2 of budget process. Thank you all for sticking through and doing a lovely virtual meeting. I hope everyone stays safe. And for those of you in our school district, I hope you have a good February break for those days.
Dr. Stanley?
I just wanted to iterate to thank you everybody for making this process as simple and understandably as it can happen or comprehend or easy to comprehend, and especially Lynn. So this is fabulous. I have access a little bit to the ones before that Tim has brought off from in case I wanted, to peruse on my spare time. And so this is wonderful. And thank you, Marlene, for everything that you do and for advocating, because it is highly important that we, continue to provide these services to our students and everybody who needs a special education. And this is just a drop in the bucket to what they need. And so if we can provide it to give them a good start in their lives, I think it's so important that we do that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, I again, thank you. And yeah, I also want to point out the special education. I know, Marilena, you've been here. This is probably the most you've spoken in a budget presentations. But I think it's really great that we're able to see exactly how much is going into the special ed budget. Like before it was just one big chunk of money, but now we can really kind of start to see all the little pieces and understand the true needs of our students. And like Dr. Stanley said, it's so important that we continue to fund it and understand it and make sure that they are getting what they need, because they deserve the same education as everyone else. So I think it really does highlight, I think the building part for me was, not as, I don't like having it spread across so many different pages, but the special ed, I think it makes more sense. So I do appreciate the new layout. So thank you for all the work and that went into this and continues to go into it. And we have a lot more to do. So that'll be for next week.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stanley. Sean's at the wheel.
I know, where's Sean?
I want to do it every time.
You missed out. All right. On motion and second, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Meeting adjourned at 9:53 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.